like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one.
Okay, for all the people who probably love this, and I know there's a lot because there was a lot of people who watched it, I just wanted to say it's been a minute, and I made a whole bunch of other series some of them I won't continue, some of them I will, but this is the staple of the channel, so I wanted to finish this one. And I know it's been a long time since this one came out, but I kind of wanted to make a whole other assortment of videos so that there was more to watch than just this one series. So basically, I'm gonna start to try to organize them better. I'm gonna start finishing the series that I'm already doing, and by the way, I'm gonna go from latest back down. So the newer ones I'm gonna complete, and the newer ones I'm gonna complete first, and then the older ones I'm gonna start going back and complete if you like it. So yeah. Okay, after the last video, Deku basically beat Todoroki at the sports festival. Now, next arc, nothing really happens until we get to the next arc, which is the work studies arc. Now, for Deku, I don't see Deku really going to work with Gran Torino, because I think I didn't give Deku not one and for all. I didn't give it to Deku, so I don't see him learning full corral at all. I see him really training by himself and not training with anybody else. I could see him training, Shoto and Bakugo, though. I could see that. But in terms of training for him, nothing really too different happens. Everybody else who has a work study besides those two and Tokiyami, they all... No, wait, I'm going to make it a side note. Yeah, I'm going to make Tokiyami a side note. I'm going to come back to him later in this. But basically, everybody else besides Bakugo and Shoto and Deku, they all get their same teachers for work studies and stuff. So we can just kind of gloss over that, say that Todoroki, Shoto, and everybody else in Class 1A got a little bit stronger, right? Let's just say that. Next, we go into the final exam. Now, the final exam, I kind of had it difficult to think, but I'm gonna say, because I want to make this interesting, I'm gonna keep Deku out of it. So Deku isn't gonna have a final exam, because he's already strong enough, and they don't need to test him because they know he could actually beat All Might. So I'm gonna say that it's actually Bakugo and Todoroki on the same team fighting All Might, right? Basically, okay, well, we'll say it like this, because I hinted in like the last video that, or the video before that one, I think it was the last video, the last video, that they might get one for all. So, this will kind of be like a teaser to that, if I decide to do it, which I don't. I might. Anyway, basically, Deku is now spectating in the spectators arena, basically watching Bakugo and I guess they're Shoto and Momo, who were supposed to go against Aizawa. Let's just say that a random person filled in for Shoto and move on. Basically, the fight starts with them having perfect synchronicity in fighting, because they've trained under Deku together, so they know how to fight together as a team. So they are starting to attack All Might with everything they've got out of the gate, no holding back. And All Might is taken aback by this, because he expected Bakugo and Todoroki to not work together well at all, because they have two distinctly different personalities. Bakugo hating his life for not being the kid of a pro hero, and Todoroki hating his life because he is the son of a pro hero. And they have a totally different dynamic, but they work together so well. So basically, Bakugo is distracting, and they're taking turns switching between distracting All Might and attacking. So basically, Todoroki starts off by shooting a wall of ice at All Might, making All Might dodge. But then he realized that it was a trap and he's boxed in, and that's when Bakugo comes from the sky trying to kick him in the face. But he misses and hits the ground really hard. The next attack that he does is to try to sweep the leg on All Might, but All Might jumps up and kicks him away into the wall of ice, through the wall of ice. Shoto, trying to regroup because they know they only can win as a team, he shoots a whole bunch of fire and ice together to make a mist, grabs Bakugo and runs away. That's when he tries to wake Bakugo up after getting punched and knocked out by All Might. And All Might just starts walking through the city saying, "There's nowhere to hide, heroes. I'll blow this whole arena down if I have to find you. There's no hiding from me." And then All Might says, "Okay, you want to hide, then I'll just wait at the finish line." And that's when Todoroki says, if we cannot beat All Might in speed, if he doesn't come after us soon, he's going to go to the finish line. And if he does that, then he's going to be able to beat us, because we're not getting past All Might. If he's trying to attack us, we need to attack him. So then he slaps Bakugo in the face, tells him to wake up and get up, because their final chance at beating All Might is coming right now. And if they don't win this one, then they're not going to be able to become heroes. Basically, Bakugo wakes up, and Bakugo comes with the same plan that he had in the original with Deku, to use his explosive, I guess they could be called grenade launchers. Yeah, I'm going to call them grenade launchers. And basically, they're filled. And he gives one to Todoroki and tells Todoroki to wait for his signal. So Bakugo jumps out and starts attacking All Might and starts boasting. All Might comes flying at him, and Bakugo tries to use his explosive gauntlet, but All Might easily breaks it, immediately rendering the plan useless. But that's when Todoroki, because this was the plan. They both knew that All Might was fast enough and strong enough to destroy the gauntlets before they could even use them. And of course he knew what they did, so he wouldn't give them the opportunity. So they were expecting Bakugo to get disabled, and they knew that All Might wouldn't find it mysterious that Bakugo went off on his own. So basically, Todoroki made some more smoke and mist and climbed up on top of a building, and that's when he dropped down, flying at All Might, knowing All Might would try to catch him because of his good nature and wouldn't let him fall. And that's when he exploded the gauntlet right in All Might's face, sending All Might flying back into a building and knocking him out for the first, or not knocking him out, but making him flinch, and it hurt him for a certain amount of time. They use this opportunity to try and go to the finish line, but All Might gets up and rushes past them and tells him in his villain type voice, he says, "Haha, you thought that you could stop me by using my nature against me? Well, think again, hero." And tries to punch Todoroki, but Bakugo and Todoroki dodge, and Todoroki tries to blow fire on All Might's head, and Bakugo uses his explosions in All Might's ear to make his ears ring, which is disabling him for a moment. They both sweep the leg, making All Might fall, and Bakugo uses the biggest explosion he can, and Todoroki freezes All Might in ice and starts to use as much fire as he possibly can. By doing this, they put All Might down for long enough for them to make it out, and they win their final exam. Basically, they've now won their final exam, and they are pretty excited about it. And Deku congratulates them on working as a team, because they wouldn't have won unless they did. So, because of this, they win. Now, I guess that's both of those out of the park. What am I supposed to do next? Oh yes, training camp. So I'm gonna say that Deku does go to training camp, because although Deku is strong and he didn't have to take his final exam, he will have to go to training camp with the mountain heroes or whatever. Basically, Deku isn't aware that that the bus like this, that this was all a trick, and they have to make their way to the like the training camp. But basically, that the bus is stopped, and the heroes get out and tell them that they have to make their way, to they have to make their way to. Sorry, hold up. He tells them that they have to make their way to the training camp on their own, or they won't be able to go to the training camp and get the products of the training. Basically, then they all are thrown off the cliff. Deku, being the one to react fast, tries to use his wings, but they were specifically worried about Deku helping anybody, so they immediately grab him and throw him back to the ground so that he can't help anybody. And they tell them that this is a team activity, but any and all flying is prohibited. And Deku immediately sighs and says, ugh. Well, there goes that option. And he says, well, I'm just going to super speed through this. And then they say it's a team exercise. Deku sighs again. Ugh. And they start to have to walk through the forest. Slowly walking through the forest. And they eventually make it to the camp after fighting rock monster after rock monster after rock monster. They finally make it to the camp, all exhausted and tired. Mainly Deku tired of helping, the people who were about to get attacked, because he's extremely worn out because he had to protect a whole lot of people who couldn't protect themselves. So he's extremely mad. Basically, they all fall to the ground the moment they hit the training camp, exhausted, battered, and bruised, and wake up the next morning at 6 8. They are woken up at 6 a.m. to start their training. The teachers say, well, look what we got here. We got a whole bunch of students. You know what you won for finally making your way here? Excruciating training. And they say, aww. And they say, it's 6 a.m. Why do we have to wake up this early? And they say, because I don't really know. Just you have to train right now. Anyway, they train all of that day, and this goes on for 2 weeks. So I don't really know a way to make training more fun, because there's no real way to make it fun, because training in general, I can't make anything up, because this is about Deku, and it's not Deku is the main character, so, and he's already strong, so I can't really word his training to make his training more interesting, and no one else is the main character, so I can't make their training interesting either. So basically, let's just say again that over the course of these 2 weeks, they all get stronger and spar. Basically but one important event comes after this. Bakugo and Todoroki finally beat Deku at 25%. This is the first time Deku's actually been pushed past 25%, because he couldn't actually go past 25%. That was his limit. That's when he thought his power ended. But he actually almost accessed 26%, and for a moment overpowered them, but then was constantly overpowered after that point, beaten, and he lost. That's one of the more major events. Basically, after this, they all get back on the bus and go back, home to somewhere in Japan. I don't even think they tell us what city My Hero Academia takes place in Japan, but let's just say they go back. Now they go back. And the same thing with Steam and stuff happens. They still have to fight Steam. They start hearing reports of heroes being actually, in this, the heroes are actually being killed. Most of the heroes are being killed, on the spot by Steam. And a whole bunch of heroes trying to fight him, and they can't manage to beat him. And Ida's brother is one of those heroes, and is put into the hospital. And Ida, being angry, starts walking out at night alone, trying to get Stain to come and attack him, so that he can fight Stain and try to get his revenge. Knowing this, knowing this, climbs up on this fire side to get Stain out of his face. Stain slides back, but goes in for another slab, and they start to get in a close encounter combat for like a couple minutes. And like Todoroki is better, is good in close combat without his perk, but he's not the best. So Stain is quickly and readily overpowering him. And at a certain point, he's about to lose. When Deku finally gets his bearing after getting the wind knocked out of him by Stain's kick, he tries to go back and help Todoroki by shooting a whole bunch of beams at Stain. Stain rushes away, and Deku makes his way back to Todoroki, and that's when they say, "Well, let's attack them together." Todoroki covers the entirety of the alleyway in ice and say, "Let's go all out now." And basically, Todoroki starts shooting fire everywhere, trying to hit Stain. Stain dodges and weaves, and bobs and weaves out of the way and in and out of the way until he can't anymore. And hold up, sorry, dog barking. Basically, he keeps on dodging all of Todoroki's attacks until they get to a certain point, and that's when he finally cuts Todoroki, incapacitating him. The entirety of the alleyway has now been cornered in ice. As I said, they've both been fighting, and Deku gets cut too, and he's currently for a couple seconds put down and can't move. And Stain is about to finish them off when finally Ida gets back up and kicks Stain with a I'm gonna say a turbo kick when the fire that his engines shoot out turns blue, and he kicks him with that, sending like Stain flying into a wall, cracking a wall. That's when Todoroki finally gets up and tries to free Stain, but Stain gets out and pushes against the wall with both his feet, hitting Ida in the face, knocking him out completely. Then he kicks Todoroki in the face, making him fall over in pain. Deku's trying to get up but can't move and starts forcing his body to get up, and he manages to get up and punches Stain in the stomach and starts mixing on him. He punches him with two right hooks, a straight jab, and backflip kicks him in the face, sending him up onto the roof. Stain, not wanting to give up, throws his knives back down, but then Todoroki burns them all away, and that's when Stain launches at Deku, when Deku knee shatters his blade and punches Stain in the face, hitting him out of the alley. They finally beaten Stain, and they're on the verge of winning when Ida wants to kill Stain, and Deku says, "Wait, Ida, I thought you were a hero. Heroes don't kill people." And Ida says, "But he killed my brother. He deserves it." And it's like most villains that do commit murder deserve to die, but you can't. That's what makes you like him. Ida understands this and spares Stain's life. But that's when Deku actually gets caught by a Nomu, and this is like a high tier Nomu. The villains have been trying since they seen Deku fight on the what is it called, in the sports festival. They've been kind of trying to go after Deku, and basically the high-end Nomu, like the first high-end Nomu of the series, grabs Deku immediately out of the sky. Deku like completely destroys his head and his brain. And Deku says, "Oh," but the Nomu's body keeps. Then he's like, "Wait, I can't leave," and he's getting any energy absorption and like super strength, so he can't get out, and nothing he Deku. And then that's when Stain rushes and runs on the wall, jumps over and stabs the Nomu in the back of the head, sending the Nomu to the ground, chops his head off, and then licks his blood to make him not be able to move anymore. And then Deku asked why Stain decided to help him, and he said, "The only reason I helped you is because you are a true hero. You spared my life even though you know I killed." that's when the rest of the pro heroes take Stain away, and Stain is now been sent to prison. But I'm gonna say he's only been sent to prison for about a year, and I don't know how long I've been making this video, but I think I'm done. I covered 3 arcs pretty quickly. Yeah, I think the revitalization of the series is going quite well, and I might give you a part 4, maybe a part 5. It should be over by the time we get to part 5 if I'm quick enough about it. But basically, yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and all the rest, I guess. But I really enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all like the revitalization. Also, old school series on my channel that, like, one of the first video I ever made, but I used my new editing, like the new way I edit on it. Do you like the editing style? I guess I'm just rambling. Let me just stop. All right, bye.